So welcome to Amazing Food and Drink. Today I am very excited to have along with me today Seamus McDaid, Managing Director of McDaids Soft Drinks. How are you doing, Seamus?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm extremely excited. I was just chatting before we started and I was just remarking on it's so nostalgic to have a look at some of your drinks here because it brings me back to my childhood in Donegal with the football special, the very famous football special. And we have the ice cream soda. And my new favourite, Seamus, I have to say, is the banana drink. Also, the orange cream is gorgeous too. I have to add that in.
Well, the banana, of course, we grow them in our secret plantations in Donegal.
I knew that. It's just outside Ramelton. I've seen it.
It is. You have to be a local to get there. We keep that. Tourists are not allowed in there.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, Seamus, tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
So I'm the fourth generation of the McDaid family to be involved in the family business. The business was set up by my great-grandfather and took over by my grandfather, my dad, and now me. For the last sort of 10 years, I was, a wanderlust 20-year-old. So I had another career as a sports agent, and I moved to Australia, and then I moved to New York. And while in my time in New York, I set up McDaids Beverages USA, which was our export arm, and we catered to the Irish American community. We sold Football Special and all our brand, all our drinks, and then we were a full-service Irish importer. So we did Tato and Lions Tea and Barry's Tea and all of that, and that was for the whole eastern corridor of the United States from Boston to Philadelphia.
Amazing.
So I moved home last year, dragged my fiance with me. She's a native New Yorker, and now she's getting to enjoy a proper summer here. So we relocated back here in the start of 2019, and my dad was. My dad would not like me to say he was getting on, but he was getting close to retirement age. So we put him out to pasture, and then I got into the hot seat then.
The truth of the matter is, he probably put himself out to pasture.
Yes, yeah, he was very. It wasn't. He was the. What's the opposite of reluctant? Because that's what he was.
He was skipping out the door. Oh, absolutely brilliant! And so, is the American arm still going?
Yeah, no, it has been scaled back because of COVID this year and the challenges that we have trying to run an international business has been with that, a small international business. But one of the things that we did keep is the new glass bottle, the old new glass bottle line that we have, that's manufactured in America. The reality of trying to produce a small glass bottle to our spec and our formula, there's nobody on the island of Ireland who would do that. Okay. And when I was in the United States, I was able to source a manufacturer there, and I've continued that. So they manufacture to our recipe and with our ingredients, and then they ship it back. So that's kept our American arm going. But the full service wholesale part has taken a bit of a downturn this year. Has kind of been put on the back burner as well. So it's something we may look at again in the future. But for now, we just focus on our own brands there.
Perfect. And for the uninitiated, I am obviously a convert to the McDaid family business. But tell me, for anyone who mightn't be aware, well, what is Football Special and what's the McDaid brand all about? Tell me all about it.
So Football Special is a mixed flavour soft drink. So it's a mixture, 7 different flavours mixed together. And how it originated was my great-grandfather was a shopkeeper, and he then started the wholesale shop products. And my grandfather separately inherited a pub, and he started to work in the pub, and he sort of understood the pub trade. So the family business became a wholesaler to shops and to pubs. And at that time, the way that Guinness distributed throughout Ireland, this is the 1940s now, 50s, was they had satellite bottlers. What we would, traditional, modern terms, we call satellite bottlers. So they had bottlers all over the country who bottled Guinness. So they made it in St. James's Gate, and then they sent that to their bottlers throughout the country. So we were one of their bottlers for Donegal. So we bottled the Guinness on the quay in Ramelton. If anybody, people will be familiar with the Drink Football Special sign. That was the original building of where we bottled Guinness. And the reality of being in the alcohol business or in the drinks business in Donegal was that you were always going to have a quiet winter time. Mm-hmm. So in the winter time, my grandfather and his brothers experimented with different flavors, and they ended up coming up with this concoction football special. They were also involved in the local football team, Swilly Rovers, and Swilly Rovers were a very successful soccer team in the 50s and 60s. So they wanted to invent a product that they could put in the trophy and fill the cup with that looked alcoholic, that wasn't alcoholic. So the football special, which has a foamy head and looks like a pint of Smithwick's, that's where that came from. That was the angle. It was to try and cater to an adult audience. And that is how it spun out. So in the early days of the business, we would have done a cola and done an orange and done various different things. But it was kind of pre the bigger branded products arriving into Ireland, or certainly having national provenance. Mm-hmm. From the 80s onwards, really football special and banana and the more off mainstream flavors of what sustained us. So that's really how we got in. We sort of fell into the soft drinks business coming from an alcohol side, and that the alcohol business has gone by the wayside now, and we focus just on our own soft drinks.
Brilliant. So you've no pubs at all whatsoever now? No, we got out of that business. What we found was the independent wholesaler in that business was getting more and more squeezed, this is in more recent times. So we decided, let's get out of this business. Ultimately, you're just a transport company for Guinness or for Harp or for anybody. You're just going to be a transport company for them. And it was a good lesson, and it was a lesson I learned in my business in America too. Being a wholesaler for somebody is difficult when you're not the brand owner, because you're always at the mercy of somebody else's product. So, we decided that no, we didn't. We got out of the alcohol business. We sold off that business, and then we just focused our efforts on our own soft drinks. One of the reasons that the alcohol wholesale business was always the bigger arm of our company, and that is what held back our own branded products in many ways, because that was the bread and butter of the business. And that's what, paid the bills, and that's what everybody spent all their energy in. But it meant that we never gave any focus to our own brands. And it's why people, there'll be lots of people listening to this who are unfamiliar with Football Special, because they don't know Donegal. And that's why we've never been able to break out. So it was really important in more recent times, since I got involved in the business, that we really had a focus on our own brands, and try to see what the potential of them properly was. That's absolutely brilliant in terms. That's a valuable lesson to anybody watching this, because, and I understand that you're focusing on your bread and butter, as you say, that pays the bills, and taking your eye off what potentially could be a much more lucrative business in your own brand. That's brilliant. To put it in brass taxes, we would have done about €5 million a year in sales of alcohol versus about $500,000 in soft drinks. So, we were cutting, it was 10% of our business, but I said, this is the future. There's only one business that's going to survive another 4 generations. I can guarantee the alcohol business is going to fall away. So let's give this one has a chance. It may not, hopefully it'll survive, but it's the one to back. Absolutely brilliant. That leads nicely on to my next question. So you've been around for 70 years or so. What's the secret of the longevity?
I think the secret for us is trying to not be exactly like every other soft drink business out there. I think if we had just done a cola and done an orange and done a lemonade, I don't think we'd still be here. So I think it's having a differentiator and trying to be that bit different is probably what sustained us. The other thing that's really sustained us is our loyal fan base. Ultimately, people buy the product. People have bought the product in their whole life. People continue to buy the product. People in Donegal buy it and they're proud of it. And ultimately that's what sustains us. People like the product. But I think from a bigger viewpoint, it's definitely not just trying to compete exactly with the larger competitors, and trying to mix it up, be it, we've brought in ice cream in the last few years. It's been a big success, trying to do something. How far can your product stretch? Trying to innovate, but trying to innovate while, making sure that you're differentiated from everybody else.
And have you made it an all-island product now?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, there's still plenty of holes in our distribution, but we're getting better. We're getting better. You know, if I could get it to all over Ulster, that would be a real achievable goal, I think. And then we could go further afield. But no, we're getting better. You know.
Did I see it in Tesco at one stage?
Yes, yeah, you'll get the 1 liter range in Tesco. Yeah, you'll see us in just one pack size there. So yeah. It's certainly one of the holes in our business is we struggle with distribution, especially to the national chains, because they see us as a regional product. And, you might get people who say buyers from supermarket groups who really love Football Special because they may holiday in Donegal or they may be from Donegal, but they're saying, well, that's not going to sell in my shop in Belfast. So I'm not giving you, I'll buy a case for myself, but I'm not putting it on my shelf. So, that's...
I have to say, from personal experience and knowing the amount of people that go to Donegal from Belfast, I think you might do a roaring trade in Belfast.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, one of the advantages we have of being based here is that people who are not from here who experience it are always on their holidays. So they associate Football Special with their holidays. So that's generally a good time. And that we get such great brand association with good holiday times. And that's, you couldn't buy that sort of branding. We're just fortunate to be from here.
If you have a look at my smile, it resonates with me so much. It is unbelievable. And look, you've actually, again, you're doing my job for me. You're leading me on to the next question really well here. So what sort of challenges do you face? I mean, you've mentioned distribution as one of them. What other challenges do you face trying to grow the business?
Well, I think just that, there are less independent retailers, or independent retailers are... The ones that are independent are getting more and more pressure from the symbol groups to define what they're offering in the soft drinks business is. And ultimately, that sort of the soft drinks business is going to be policed by Coca-Cola, and by Britvic and the likes. So if we can't get on a planogram for, in a Spar shop, it's getting increasingly difficult for me to sell to a Spar shop owner because it's not incumbent on them to now stock our product unless they really want to. So that is probably the big challenge. We're playing in a field whereby there are massive businesses and they're very successful brands. So the challenge for us is how do we stay small and do what we do, but try to, it's really distribution and getting listings in new shops is where the challenge lies. And that's the challenge for any newcomer into the food or drinks business, really.
Brilliant. This could be a platform for buyers across the industry. So I really hope that we're able to connect you with someone as a result of this interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that'd be terrific. We're always open to anything, and anybody ever wants any stuff. I mean, I spent the day around Dublin today. We probably have only 16 or 17 outlets there, but the size of the business that we are, every sale matters. And every listing is another listing because somebody sees it in that shop, and you get credibility from one buyer puts their neck in the line. It's a lot easier for the next buyer because somebody else has said, right, that's a good product for Tesco. So it's a lot easier then for Asda to say, well, I'm not putting my neck in the line. Tesco put their neck. I'm just saying, well, I just follow Tesco. What can I say? So every listing is key for us. So yeah, bring it on. I hope there's all sorts of buyers ring me after this.
Brilliant. Okay, so in terms of the original, if you like, soft drink was the Football Special. How have the others evolved over the years? And I'll come to the ice cream in a minute. I'm just talking about the drinks firstly.
Yeah, well, with the banana was always our next biggest one. That again has been something. We use natural banana essence in it. And again, it was just from messing around in the wintertime. Banana came up. Pineapple was the same. Something different. And that's, that was how them core base, and cream soda, which is your traditional old school sort of soft drink. Yeah. So that's really how they came about. It was, trying to not do what everybody else does. And then what I found is when I moved to America, there was a real home for that. There's a real craft soda market there, industry there. And that's what I had the ability then to actually do my cola in a glass bottle again. And to do the orange cream, which is a slight change on what we typically do, but it's still our recipe. So,
I'm really interested about that. That's a very strange sounding drink, but it is absolutely beautiful. My son's just tasted it for the first time there, and he is loving it. How did that come about? That's a really interesting flavour, orange.
Well, that is basically our orange soft drink. Well, we used to make our fizzy orange, and then it's kind of crossed with our cream soda. So it is the orange cream would be a bigger drink in the United States. But what I was able to do was I was able to take our recipe, blend it with somebody else's cream soda, and then try and make an Irish twist on an American cream soda. So that's why we call it American orange cream. And it's been a big hit so far, because again, there's nothing really like that, in Europe. And it has a very distinct creamy taste. I mean, it's a terrific product to pour over ice cream. I mean,
absolutely.
It is.
I can actually say that if someone tastes that, they will be in love.
Yeah. People will come back for a second slug of that. All right.
Class. Yeah. Okay, and then so we mentioned, and you mentioned as well, the ice cream. So how has that come about, and where do you think that's going to take the business? It is going to be a big part, or is it just a sort of add-on?
No, well, so it came about, in many ways, because my dad, when we were growing up, was always messing around with flavors, and ice cream was always something that he was messing around with. And the more and more people we met, we looked at a few years ago making an investment and trying to set up our own ice cream factory. And we were lucky that we met a guy, Frank Kilpatrick from Quinn's Gelato, based in Cookstown. And they were a family business, very similar to ours. And it was a really good fit for us. And, we were able to bring our recipes to him, and he was able to match that into an ice cream. So it was a bit of a natural brand extension. People had always used our drinks in soda floats and the like. So we always knew that the flavor profile would work with an ice cream. So when we found a manufacturing partner who could do that for us, that was our entry into the market. What we have found since then is, if you look at our core target market, if you look at people who really drink Football Special, you're looking at I always say, your 8 to 17-year-olds. You've got your kids and your teenagers. When people graduate, into their 20s, their consumption of soft drinks naturally slows down.
Yeah.
But if you look at our social media presence and our marketing presence, it's very much people in their 20s and 30s. And while it's great to get attention from them, they're not necessarily the core consumers of the product. Yeah. And even if they are, they might at best buy the odd bottle. Because of various, they're concerned about the sugar and the calories that are in it, and they just have a more mature palate. What we have found is that ice cream cuts right through that. I have never once been asked about how much sugar is in my ice cream. That is of no concern to anybody. And I've also found that the ice cream industry there's a lot more choice in the ice cream flavors, and people are actually slightly more adventurous when it comes to their ice cream flavors. So we have our ice cream, we have our ice cream all over Northern Ireland, really. And people are buying our banana ice cream, especially, that they don't know McDaids. They're just they see a banana ice cream and it tastes good, and they buy it again. And it's a slightly easier gateway than the soft drinks has been. So we see it as being a massive part of our future, and it's really interesting. We knew the products would work, but whether we could crack that market, I was unsure. But, to a limited way we have, and it's opened up avenues because it has allowed fans of the product to consume the product again. And that's been a big advantage to us, and it's been a big add-on.
Really clever idea. And could you then actually start selling the soft drinks alongside the ice cream, or is that what you're doing, or how's it work?
Yeah, well, that's what we would, in many shops we would do that. But yeah, that would be now it's, can you try get it in there? If your banana ice cream can sell, you'd be saying to the store owner, well, listen, I mean, if the ice cream is selling, there's no reason why the soft drink won't sell here. I mean, and that's very much why our ice cream branding is the exact same as a bottle of, and that's a conscious decision that so our banana ice cream looks exactly like that. And when you scoop it out, it looks like that. And that's very much that, people who just like banana ice cream, but you're reinforcing that it's a McDaids banana ice cream you're eating. And then therefore you can drink a McDaids, carbonated drink.
So have we any ice cream sellers in Belfast yet?
Have you any ice cream sellers in Belfast? I would have to. So we're lucky that Savage and Whitten Wholesale carry us all around Northern Ireland. So they may take us into many places I'm unaware of. I don't have any. Of course, the challenge with ice cream, which is different to the soft drinks, is it's a frozen distribution. And that has its own challenges. It wasn't just easy for us to carry. We had to invest in a frozen truck and some frozen warehousing. And, there was differences. And that has really limited. The only places that I distribute ice cream is Donegal, West Tyrone and West Derry, because it's the only way I can kind of get at. So, we're lucky that Savage and Whitten will take us, further afield. The drinks are different because it's ambient. I can ship you them all over the place and it's much easier.
Much easier. Well, I'm going to have to just get some ice cream and use that banana then and make what we call in Belfast a smoky, or like a Coke float type.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. And we're going to have to look to see how we can extend that down here, because that sounds amazing. McDaids banana ice cream sounds like the ticket.
To say that the ice cream is, you see great growth the ice cream industry is in growth. We've had great response from buyers. I mean, we had our banana ice cream and we had a special buy in Aldi, and they, sales were good. And again, you're looking at people there who are just picking up a banana ice cream. So if you can produce a quality product, your brand is much less important. I kind of feel that, basically Coca-Cola have merchandised the fridge down to a science that when you go into a shop, you may not have your soft drink choice in mind, but as soon as you hit the fridge, Coke know where your eyes are going to be, attracted to. The freezer is much more of the Wild West than the freezer. So it's a heavier merchandise business. You've got to stock the shelves a lot more than you have to do with the soft drinks, but people are much more conscious. They're definitely more ambitious and adventurous in that aisle than they are in the soft drinks aisle.
Brilliant. That's actually really true. Really, really true. So you can make a stake to some of the claims in those freezers. Right?
Yes.
Brandy ice cream.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Tell me, just on that, did you get any help from the likes of Donegal County Council when you were coming up with this new product idea, or any of the food sort of government bodies, board?
No, we didn't with that. Now we have had some assistance since, but we would probably get some more now as we try to grow it now, really. No, not so much. The biggest thing that happened in ice cream was finding our manufacturing partner. Quinn's was a perfect fit. They are another family business. They're based in they're based in Northern Ireland, so they're geographically close to us. And it makes a lot of sense to do with them, and that's really that's one of the reasons that there has been a success. They have been able to manufacture for us to our level. And I think, we have been able to keep them busy in many ways too. So it's been a really good relationship that's worked really well.
Brilliant for Ulster.
Yes. And that's it. I mean, and I did have somebody tell me once that, that you can get too provincial. Like we try and sell ourselves as this Donegal branded drink, but on the continent, in France, like the Champagne region is about the size of the whole of Ulster. Like we're far too parochial here. Like if something's coming from Tyrone, like it's basically the Northwest. Like let's not get too held up here. Like it's all, the cows there are eating basically the same grass. Like, so, like the idea that you're selling something from Cork now, it's going to be different. But if we can brand it as this region, then that's good enough for me.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And tell me, if there's any business owners, in the food and drinks industry who are looking to distribute products, what advice would you give them? Because I know you've found it difficult. Yeah,
I think ultimately what I would say is, you've got to have a product that people like, and your product will stand and die and will live or die at that. If people like your product, then a shopkeeper will be forced to buy you because he knows or she knows it's going to sell. So if your product is rubbish, you have no chance. And the same, not just the product, but if the packaging is rubbish, and all the things that go into it. So you've got to keep, if you think there's something there, you have to keep improving it and getting it to a point where you're like, okay, that is a product that I can stand over and that's good. So I think that would be my big thing. Would be make sure your product and make sure your packaging, and and don't be afraid to keep tinkering with it and figuring out what really works. And then I would say the second advice would be then don't get if you have a bit of success, then don't get too Puritan with the whole thing. Then you are going to have to deal with Henderson's at some stage. You're going to have to deal with Musgraves. Are they going to treat you well? Probably not. But the reality is you're not going to survive in the food and drinks business without dealing with them. So don't, I certainly see it in the craft beer business where, they get, you can get too mighty then, you're not going to deal with these people, but you're putting a ceiling on your business then. You're going to have to conform to what they want at some point in time. So don't let them hold you back at the start, but eventually accept that you're going to have to fit into their model. They control the retail space, and unless you want to set up your own chain of shops, that is what it is.
Yeah. So don't cut your nose off, basically.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And I say that as somebody, I'm begging them to get in the door there. I'm bad, but I know that I need them to succeed. I don't need them to survive, but I need them to really succeed in the business. So that's. So that would be my two. Get your product right, and don't, and even then with your product, don't get too pure over what your product is going to be. People see lovely, people see beautiful packaging and they think that's the way it is. But ultimately, if that bottle is the wrong shape and it doesn't fit in somebody's fridge, then you're not going to get in somebody's fridge. So you're going to have to, know. And that's a lesson we learned the hard way. We used to always do these funky sizes. We'd have a 420 ml bottle and all this kind of stuff. And what we learned was everybody buys the soft drinks business. It's a 500 ml bottle. Yeah. So it's a lot easier for a retailer to understand, what my margins are and what the price of it is. Coke have set the market for that. So we just conform and fit in there. So, it's about trying to be different, but knowing what works.
Yeah. When to push the boundaries and when not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you've recently set up an online arm, an e-commerce site, haven't you?
Yeah. The e-commerce.
How's that going, and do you see it expanding?
Yeah, the e-commerce has been a really big, great. It's been a bright spot of the year. Obviously, lots of people's online platforms have really picked up, and for us, it was again. Even a lot of people. Where we were able to tap into was people who couldn't get to Donegal for their holidays. Now we were able to get the product to them. And we tried to really play up to that. If you can't get here, let us send Donegal to you. And so we set up the e-commerce. It's been going really, really well. It's becoming an important arm of our business. And again, the idea that I can get direct to consumers now gives me some leverage then again over retailers, because it gives me a chance to sell to people that that if you're in Fermanagh and you can't buy us anywhere, at least I can get it to you now. And that gives me opportunities then to go with that data to a shopkeeper in Enniskillen and say, well, I've already sold 6 cases in this, in these sort of postcodes. So there has to be a market here. So that it's one way of really proving the market and proving there's a market there. So it's been a real bright spot, and it's been.
So I don't really want to focus on COVID, but has that actually helped the e-commerce side of things? And
I definitely think so. Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that's drove traffic to our website. And we could see it starting. We had an old clunky website that had a very, very, very basic e-commerce, and it was really March, April. I could see this thing exploding. So that's when I went to Intertrain Ireland and got some funding. I met with you guys, and you were able to help me try, figure out what exactly I want to do there. Mm-hmm. But that has sustained that, even in the summer months when people were able to get here, the traffic and that has continued. And there is an opportunity now probably for us to do that in a wider field, be it in the UK or somewhere, that the concept being that we do craft soda. There's not that many people doing craft soda. There's less still people doing craft soda who are selling it online. So, if you're just a consumer who wants craft soda and you're in Leicester, why not? Well, you see this product. Yeah, let me have a try of that. And again, that's something that I would never, ever have been able to reach before. because it would have required me to find a wholesaler in Leicester to then find retailers, and it would have, that's an investment now. And now my investment in this is just keeping a good website and keeping a good e-commerce platform.
Brilliant. So are you thinking of maybe running some campaigns online to target certain areas, or?
Yeah, we probably are. We would just see that as an opportunity now to really get some sales, to really get some volume through that channel. And everybody's doing it. Like, it's no different to like Coca-Cola getting into the Costa business. All these brands are figuring out you need to get direct to consumers now. We went through a period where we all wanted middlemen, like you wanted agents. That was what they specialized in. And, but like all the big brands have figured this out, and we're just sort of following their lead. Like you need a direct to consumer offering, if you can do it, if it makes sense. So yeah, we'll probably try and do some promotions around it, and we'll, and try drive it.
Brilliant. I think it'll work very well for you. And tell me, what do you see in terms of any industry changes or how it's going to evolve going forward here? What?
I definitely see. I mean, when I was involved in this business when I was a teenager, so I'm 31 now. So you think when I was a teenager, it was almost uncool to drink Football Special, in that it was seen as kind of old hat, kind of. It has really come back around, and it's not. Like, I would love to take full credit for this great rebrand or something like that, but it's more so people are buying local much more now, and it's no longer cool that, when I was a teenager, people wanted the international brands. That has changed. Teenagers now especially are looking at local things, and there's cool, being regional and being local is really cool. So that has opened up a space for local suppliers that wasn't there before. And that, again, that has, fed through, and that has forced retailers, and food service people to take local brands that weren't there before. The other big change I've seen is, it's this rise in sort of coffee culture. I spent a couple of years in Australia, about 10 years ago now. And, it was huge there. So it was sort of inevitable it was going to come here, especially as our alcohol culture sort of we matured as consumers, I guess, if you want to put it in a nice way. So I can see that future, that's only going to grow, and if the pub trade is probably going to decrease over the years as that market continues to grow. We'll probably hit a saturation point at some point, but, and again, that is a market that is terrific for small, independent food and drink producers, because it's likely that the local coffee shop is a small chain or an independent, and they are definitely going to help you out, and
look after your needs. And I'm just thinking out loud here that this buying local in Provenance has really, become huge over the last number of years, and it's certainly benefiting businesses like your own, which is great.
Yeah. And I mean, I can see it. I really can see it sustaining, because ultimately, it's things like food miles and things as well. We're a local product that's produced locally. So, we have that there. The profits are staying in the local area, and I don't think it's a fad. Like, I think that will sustain. And, you hear people even in the industry talk about the wine business. When the conquistadors went to South America, they figured out it didn't make any sense to ship bottles of wine to Chile. So why don't we just bring the grapes with us and plant them here, and we'll just produce the wine here? But now we can't wait to ship wine all around the world. We are going to live through an era now where, again, it becomes nonsensical to ship the wine back from Chile. You can make it here, so just buy that. Or it'll only be for the super hyper premium brands that you'll do that. So being a local brand gives you that opportunity. That may close some export markets to you, but, it gives you an opportunity in your domestic market.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Before I go on, I'm going to ask you maybe a final couple of questions. Where can we reach you? So where can we buy this? Tell me all about it. What channels?
Well, if you wanted to check out it, so, football-special.com is our website, and we have an online shop there, and go ahead and buy it. And then if look around, we're in Tesco, and look around, lots of independent shops. You'll find us there. We have on our website, we have a listing of where we are. But we're sprouting up all over the place.
How do we reach Seamus McDaid? If someone wants to get in the shop.
you'll find me on. You can message us on our Facebook. Although I will say that my wife runs a Facebook page, so please be careful what you're sending to me there. So if any women are trying to not use that channel. No, and you can follow me on Twitter at FB Special. So is where I'm at there. So yeah, anybody wants to get in touch with me, I'm all ears to all ideas.
Brendan, what about an email? Plug yourself.
fbspecial@yahoo.co.uk.
Okay.
So everything. I'm big into my branding, so everything is Football Special or FB Special.
Okay, super. And lastly then, Seamus, tell me, what is the future for Football Special and the McDaids family business? Big question.
Yeah, well, we see a great future in the craft soft drinks business. The glass bottles that you looked at. We see an even greater move towards glass. I mean, we have a 750ml glass that's a returnable glass bottle that can be rewashed 200 times. So that's how we used to be. But we'll see more and more of that. I could envisage a future whereby McDaids, we don't sell any plastic bottles anymore. And that's an interesting thing because we were all glass at one stage. And people force us to get into plastic, and now they're forced us to get back into glass, and that's just cyclical how things go. I can see us, really trying to go after the craft soft drinks market, and not trying to compete with Coca-Cola and leaving the mainstream market to Coke and Sprite and Britvic and C&C, and then us just focusing on the craft market. So and then I also see an extension of our brand being in our ice cream. We're looking at sweets. We're looking at barbecue sauces. Whatever I can brand, have hoodies, whatever I can stick Football Special on that'll sell, I'll do it. So
absolutely brilliant. I'm so looking forward to the sweets and even the barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Seamus, I have to say, I have thoroughly enjoyed this nostalgic, if you like, view of your beautiful products, and honest to God, you're bringing the bottles back to the shop. I remember doing that and giving them a 10p. It was so exciting when I was a child. I can't remember that. You're too young.
Yeah, no, I remember doing it. I remember plenty of people bringing it back to our factory. I remember lots of young lads doing it and then hopping the wall and robbing the bottles back and then bringing it back. Getting 10p. It is funny how it evolves. That 10p is irrelevant now. People don't return it for that anymore. They return it for a more altruistic game. We are trying to figure out a system whereby we could do a sort of loyalty reward program where if you return it, instead of getting 10p back, maybe you get a credit off your next purchase or something. It's trying to. The 10p was a huge thing. Back 70 years ago when you were a child, it was a big thing. But now it's like. Trying to figure out what works for a child and a teenager now. What will make them return it?
Yeah, the kids that turn their nose up at 10p now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Seamus, that was absolutely fantastic. I really think our viewers will love this. I really wish the business all the success in the world, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, no, thanks a million for having me, and I hope people enjoyed it.
You're so welcome. Thank you.